What's good, my people? Welcome back to EMGM Sports. It's me again, your boy Enzo. Before I get started, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who subscribed to the channel, everyone who likes and shares the videos. Trust me, I really appreciate you because you're helping this channel grow. And that's why I'm coming back, time after time, bringing you content. We're talking boxing, we talk football, sports in general. Yeah, man, I just want to say thank you so much because I've seen, I've seen that I'm getting a lot of love and the channel is growing and I really appreciate it. Yeah. But anyways, let's get down to it. It's looking likely that Anthony Joshua and Daniel Dubois will have a rematch sometimes, in early 2025 or thereabouts. I'm not too sure yet. It hasn't been confirmed, but we saw in the aftermath of Anthony Joshua getting knocked out at Wembley on the 21st of September. Eddie Hearn came out like a few days after that. He was saying that he revealed to all of us that there's a rematch clause in that fight. So the likelihood is we are going to see that rematch. And we saw Joshua come out himself as well saying that he's not done, he's not finished, he wants to continue boxing. He feels like he's still got a lot to give to boxing. So looking at that, and by what Eddie Hearn said, by what Joshua said, and Dubois himself came out saying, listen, if they pay me enough money, I don't mind smashing Joshua up again. Do you know what I mean? Like, Dubois got his confidence. He thinks he can do it all over again. So looking at all of that, putting everything together, it does look like it's very likely, yeah, that a rematch would happen. And we've seen Joshua in the past, when he fought Ruiz, he lost that. He came back rematch, he won. When he lost to Alexander Usyk, he came back straight for the rematch, even though he was unsuccessful. But Joshua, from past experiences, he has proven that when he loses to a fighter, he tends to rematch them. Now, I'm just looking at this fight, if they were to rematch here, based on the last performance, when, let's be clear here, Daniel Dubois absolutely smashed Joshua to bits. He won from round 1 all the way to like round 4, whatever round Dubois knocked out Joshua in, yeah. And it was one of those performances where Joshua looked pretty basic, very immature. Like I always say, look, I've seen white collar boxers have better skills than Anthony Joshua showed on that night. I'm not saying that Anthony Joshua is a white collar boxer. That's not what I'm saying. Don't get my words misconstrued. But what I'm saying is on that night, the level of performance required for a former heavyweight champion of the world like Joshua, who has so much experience in the heavyweight division, who's got more experience than Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois showed more composure, more skill. Like Daniel Dubois was just better than Anthony Joshua in every single department. Now, the question is, a lot of people that have been asking is, was Anthony Joshua that bad or was Daniel Dubois that good? Like is Daniel Dubois way better than Anthony Joshua? Like for me, the answer lays somewhere in the middle. Like I feel like Daniel Dubois was well prepared. Do you know what I mean? He felt disrespected in the lead up to the fight. Do you know what I mean? Everyone was dismissing him, saying, look, going by his previous performances where he's stepped up against elite fighters, he's come up short. Do you know what I mean? Like he's he's been accused of quitting or whatever. But Daniel Dubois went in there, yeah. He put in a clinical performance, dismantled Anthony Joshua, got the job done, kept the belt. He proved everyone wrong. Do you know what I mean? And on the other hand, Anthony Joshua, I'm one of his biggest fans. He let himself down. He let his fans down. He let everyone down because that performance was absolutely garbage. It was terrible. It was just bad. His hands were down. His chin was all up in the air. It looked like he looked like a novice in there. Yeah, Anthony Joshua looked like a novice in there. Now, saying all that, yeah, I think people are still going to be fascinated on what's going to happen if they do rematch. And I'll come here today. I'll come here today and I'll say that I personally don't think Joshua should take the rematch, but the contracts were signed, didn't it? So before they even had the first fight, Daniel Dubois signed the contract to have the rematch with Anthony Joshua in an event that Anthony Joshua loses. Now, Daniel Dubois didn't have to sign it. But I'm sure Daniel Dubois was looking after his own interest because he's looking at the finances, etc., how much he can get from the rematch, by signing a rematch clause here. He's probably going to be offered millions, way more money than he got from the first fight. So he looked at, you know what, I might as well sign it. So he signed it. And I know a lot of fans are going to be upset about it. A lot of people, a lot of fans, a lot of people in the boxing community, experts, ex-boxers, whatever, etc. they don't believe they don't believe that Joshua deserves a rematch because he was defeated so convincingly, and I don't blame them from having them type of thoughts. I don't blame them at all. Like if it was a close fight where Joshua was dominating and then it was a lucky punch from the guards and he hit him in a temple, whatever, and he got knocked out. That's understandable. Like that, there could be some argument for a rematch because the fight was competitive, but this fight wasn't competitive at all. Like Daniel Dubois absolutely dominated Anthony Joshua. So I can see the frustrations from fans. I get it. I understand it. But at the end of the day, yeah, this is boxing. Do you know what I mean? Money talks. Is the nature of the beast. It is what it is. Like at the end of the day, money will talk, and that rematch will most likely happen. It will most likely happen. Now, who is the benefit? Who does this rematch benefit? Does it benefit Joshua or Dubois? Who's got more to lose and who's got more to gain? Like for me, yeah, all the cons go to Joshua. Do you know what I mean? Like all the cons. If I'm looking at the pros and cons and I'm looking at the probabilities, etc., like Joshua is under massive pressure if this rematch was to happen. Dubois, he can relax because at the end of the day, he's already won the first fight. Absolutely battered Anthony Joshua, knocked him out. In the rematch, yeah, Daniel Dubois, not only is he more confident now, yeah, he knows he can hurt Joshua, yeah. Daniel Dubois, like, he'll just go in there and probably just do exactly the same thing. Now, for Anthony Joshua, yeah, there's two elements to it. The way I'm looking at it, at this rematch, if it was to happen, and it looks likely that it will happen, yeah, because we hear the lingerings, we hear all the talk coming out. It looks like there's going to be a rematch. So for Anthony Joshua, the way I'm looking at it, there's two elements that I'm looking at here. There's the physical side of things, and then there's the psychological side of things, yeah? Everything to do in your head. Mental warfare, because that's what boxing is. On the physical aspect, yeah, looking at it, yeah, me, myself, as an amateur boxing coach, I'm in a gym, I'm watching other fighters train and stuff like that, part of my coaching, learning. I'm looking at Anthony Joshua like physically, what can Anthony Joshua and Ben Davison do different that they didn't do in the first fight? They can do a lot of things. Yeah, if you're looking at tactics and boxing ability, the skills and everything like that, we definitely know that Anthony Joshua, in terms of boxing skills, is much better than what he showed on the 21st of September at Wembley. Yeah, let's just agree on that. We can say anything that we want about Joshua. Come on, let's be fair here. Joshua is an Olympic gold medalist, so he shows he's got skills. He shows that he's got boxing skills. We've seen him in the past showcase boxing skills that we didn't see on the 21st of September. Because that was poor, that was terrible. We don't know what happened there. Only Joshua can explain exactly what went through his head here for him to put up a performance like that. That was so terrible. Physically, Ben Davison can work with Anthony Joshua. Listen, mate, keep your hands up at all time. High guard. Do you know what I mean? Head movement, better footwork. Don't go back in straight lines. Yeah, you gotta use the angles, etc., etc. Use your jab a bit better because in that fight he was getting out jabbed by Daniel Dubois, which I simply didn't think it could happen. I actually thought Joshua's got a better jab out of the both fighters, but Daniel Dubois was jabbing, double jab, and he was hitting Anthony Joshua in the face at will. I was so surprised by that. Joshua had no defense whatsoever, and it was terrible. So in terms of like Ben Davison, the coach, he's looking at Anthony Joshua, and he has to make those adjustments. He will make those adjustments. Better defense, better head movement, so you're not getting caught with a jab at will. You know what I mean? Tuck your chin in because his chin was way up in the air. It was right there. Joshua's chin was looking at Daniel Dubois and screaming, "I hit me, hit me." And Daniel Dubois looked at him and said, "Thank you very much." Pow. Bye bye. Knockout. Sleep. Good night. Hasta la vista. See you later. I'm the champ. Do you know what I mean? Like that was terrible. So physically, from a strategy, game plan, fight plan type of thing, Ben Davison can definitely implement changes that will make Anthony Joshua more competitive in the rematch. That could happen. We know that. Anthony Joshua can do a bit more running. If he was doing 2 miles, do 3 miles. If he was doing 3 miles, do 4 miles. He can do all that. He can do more squats. Do you know what I mean? He can bring in better sparring partners, more tough fighters, sparring partners that can throw more volume. Because Daniel Dubois came out of the blocks, man. He came out quick off them tracks. He wasn't playing. Daniel Dubois, I feared that because Joshua doesn't really normally face opponents who are going to overwhelm him with volume. Daniel Dubois was throwing his hands, man. He was letting his hands go, man, and Joshua couldn't cope with the pressure, with that physicality Joshua just couldn't cope with it. A lot of us thought he could, but he didn't on that night. It was terrible. It all went wrong. So from a physical aspect, point of view, boxing skills, whatever, Ben Davison is a student of the game. He's a great coach. Do you know what I mean? And he's come under a lot of criticism here, Ben Davison, including for myself, because he did give Anthony Joshua some terrible advice. Oh, roll the dice, mate. That you do not say that to a heavyweight who's just been knocked down twice to roll the dice, mate. So Ben Davison himself, he has to look himself in the mirror as well, say to himself, yo, did I coach this guy right? Did I give him the right advice? Because that's vital. A great coach is not just what you can do on the pads and all these tactical decisions that you're making. It's the advice that you give to the fighter in rounds as well, in between the rounds as well. You're guiding your fight. I feel like Ben Davison in that fight versus Dubois, he gave Joshua the wrong advice at the wrong time when he didn't need to roll the dice. What Joshua needed was more composure, steady the ship, slow the fight down, and maybe catch Daniel later down the rounds, man. Because Daniel started so fast, you could have blew a gasket, whatever. You could have, Dubois would have got tired if you carried on at that pace. Joshua could have caught him then. But anyways, let's go back to Joshua. Let's not, I don't want to get too indulged in Ben Davison and what he did wrong, etc. I'm going to come to that. I'm going to probably do another video on him as well. But let's stick to Joshua at the moment. So physically, they could make a lot of changes, like I said. My biggest concern for Anthony Joshua is, even though he can make the adjustments, keep his hands up and better head movement, don't go back in straight lines, create them angles and try and control the fight a bit more in the sense of the ring. He can try and do all that. The biggest problem for Anthony Joshua is psychologically, man. Has he recovered mentally from that beatdown from Daniel Dubois? We saw after the Usyk fight, the rematch, the second fight, we saw how Anthony Joshua broke down mentally. You know what I mean? The outbursts he had in the ring, throwing the ring, the belt out the ring on the floor and etc. etc. He came under crazy criticism in that fight for what happened in the post fight. And mentally, we saw Anthony Joshua break down. And he didn't recover for a long time because his fights after that, they were terrible. He wasn't letting his hands go. It took him a while to rediscover his form. Now, he's back in that same situation that he was in 3 years ago. He's just been beaten badly, knocked out in front of 86,000 at Wembley. Record-breaking crowd, the biggest fight ever in British boxing, heavyweight history, against a young Daniel Dubois, who everyone thought that he's going to beat. Joshua is this mega superstar. He's been the face of boxing for so many years. All of a sudden, you're getting beaten by the up-and-coming, well, I don't call Dubois up-and-coming, but he's not the level of superstardom as a Joshua Fury just yet. Joshua was expected to win that fight. And to lose in that manner, in that fashion, has psychologically, what does that do to a fighter? That kills a fighter. Many fighters don't ever come back from that type of humiliation. Because that's what it was. It was a humiliating defeat for Joshua. He didn't even put up a fight. He wasn't competitive at all. He made Dubois look like prime Mike Tyson in there. That's how bad it was for Joshua. Now, mentally, has Joshua recovered from that? Joshua can say all he wants. I've seen all his media outings that he's done, in his social media platforms, saying he's all right, he's back to training, he's running. Listen, at the end of the day, what goes on inside another man's mind, his head, me and you, we will never know. They could just show a front in front of us who, like, physically, they look aesthetically, they look fine. But on the inside, like, in here, like, he's feeling, he must be fucked up. You know what I mean? He must be real fucked up in the head because that was a humiliating defeat. And Joshua's one of those guys he's got a lot of pride, a lot of ego, and his ego is bruised, is hurt right now. And only time will tell if he has recovered. Because if we look at, let's go back when Joshua had his first loss against Ruiz, where he got knocked down a few times, and then the ref stopped the fight. When he came back for the rematch, we saw a different version of a Joshua. We kind of saw like a Klitschko style type of fighting, like where he kept it long, Do you know what I mean? Kept the distance, used the range, jabbed Ruiz to death. Ruiz came there overweight after he made 10 million. He ate all the pizzas in the world, all the tacos, both Rolls Royces. You know what I mean? Ruiz wasn't the same in that rematch. He didn't have the same explosiveness. He didn't have the fast hands and everything like that. So Joshua was able to kind of cruise control and win that fight. But against Alexander Usyk, who's more of a seasoned fighter, who's arguably one of the best fighter of this generation in the heavyweight division, elite, Joshua could not have overcome that skill gap in the rematch between him and Alexander Usyk. And he lost that. And it took him a while to rediscover his form. Now, mentally, psychologically, coming back against Daniel Dubois, who is younger. Daniel Dubois is not going to do anything different. Joshua, even though he made improvements and he made some adjustments in his second fight against Usyk and he was a bit more successful, he pushed Usyk closer in that fight. He was still kind of outboxed, but he did better. Can he do better in a rematch against Daniel Dubois? That would be the big question, the $1 million question that all of us AJ fans, boxing fans, experts will be asking. Because I'm looking from a performance, what type of performance that he can produce on that night if he does have the rematch against Daniel Dubois. Now, he can't be he can't fight cautious like he did against Andy Ruiz in the second fight, because Daniel Dubois, being the younger fighter, more energetic, probably carrying the better cardio, will not allow him to do that, because Daniel Dubois is going to start fast again because he's going to be confident, thinking, listen, I'm trying to get this guy here quick as possible. Daniel Dubois is going to come out, throw hands. Now, can Joshua mentally calm himself here and sustain and absorb that pressure that Daniel Dubois is going to bring? Or when that bell rings, Daniel Dubois races across that ring, comes at Anthony Joshua. With Anthony Joshua, would it be deja vu? Would he panic? Would he have a panic attack all of a sudden? Oh my God, what have I done? I'm back here again. Like, do you know what I mean? Would his mind play games on him? And when Daniel Dubois does touch that chin, do you know what I mean? How would Anthony Joshua react? Because he can train all he wants. He can bring the best sparring partners in the world. He can have the best tactics. The question is, if mentally he doesn't recover, if psychologically he's not there, the same result will happen again. He will get knocked out if mentally he's not there. And we will really never know psychologically if Anthony Joshua has recovered, because at the end of the day, psychologically, mental warfare is all in their head, isn't it? It's hidden. Me and you, we can't see it. No one knows how we're feeling really inside, what we're thinking. No one knows that. Physically, we look good. We look okay, right? And Joshua certainly looks okay. He's a specimen. He looks, aesthetically, he's built. He looks like he's ready. He can go back again in there tomorrow. But mentally, suffering such a devastating defeat against a British rival on British soil, record-breaking crowd, 86,000 at Wembley, humiliating defeat in front of your family and friends and the whole world, millions around the world watching it. That's going to be hard to come back from, man, mentally, man. I'm not going to lie, man. And I'm an AJ fan. I just feel like this rematch, I don't think he should take it, but he will. Because these guys, they have egos, man. Joshua's thinking, nah, I can't let that go, man. I can't let that go. Me personally, what I would do, yeah, if I was Joshua, if I was advising Joshua, yeah, which I'm not, but if I was next to him, one of his friends or whatever, I'll say, look, bro, you've achieved so much in boxing, yeah. You've basically been holding up the British boxing world heavyweight division for 10 years. You've been the main guy, you're the superstar, you've made money, you've got everything. I wouldn't take the Daniel Dubois rematch. What I would do, wait until the Fury Usyk does settle. I personally think Usyk wins a rematch. Yeah, if Tyson Fury loses, yeah, Fury versus AJ is a big fight, especially with the British boxing audience. It's a big fight. They'll still pack Wembley. Wembley might even do 90,000. Wembley might do 90,000 instead of 86,000. They might do 90,000 this time because Fury AJ is still a massive fight. We still want to see. I want to see. I don't know about you at home. Let me know in the comments. Do you want to see Joshua versus Fury? Because I do. That's still a massive fight. We all want to know who would have won in their prime. Obviously, both guys are not in their prime right now, but we want to know who's the guy. Like, we want to settle that argument. And if Fury loses, Joshua loses, them two can just get in a ring, get on, bang it out for one last hooray. You know what I mean? For the British boxing fans do it. For boxing fans in general around the world who always wanted to see that fight. Give us that one more fight, and then you know what? Win or lose, whoever loses wins that fight. They're gonna make a lot of money. They're already set for life right now, but they're gonna make even more money. Walk away in the sunset. You're done, man. The era's done. Time to move on. There's other fighters coming up. They're gonna get a chance. I mean, that's what I'll be saying to Joshua. I'll be saying, just see out, wait. Have one last fight. Make your last fight against Tyson Fury. Because listen, AJ, by taking a rematch against Daniel Dubois, he could really do some serious damage to his legacy. Right now, his legacy is already looking a little bit bent right now. Do you know what I mean? Like, people are looking at it in a different scope right now. Joshua's legacy is under the microscope right now. Like, people are really looking, is it tainted or not? For me, it's not. He's done a lot for British boxing and heavyweight boxing around the world in general. Joshua's done a lot. So for me, I'm always going to look at AJ in a positive way. Maybe because I'm a fan of AJ. I like AJ as a boxer, personality, superstar, whatever you want to call it. But his critics are going all out on him. He's getting, criticized all over the internet. And another humiliating defeat to Daniel Dubois is over. Like, people are not going to remember you the same, Anthony Joshua. So Anthony Joshua and his team, Eddie Hearn, his manager, whatever it is, people around him, they really need to consider and think carefully about this rematch with Daniel Dubois. Because Daniel Dubois has got nothing to lose. Daniel Dubois is going to make money regardless, win or lose. He's getting big money because he's the champ. Yeah. He's going to get the pay-per-view cuts and everything like that. They're offering him big money for this rematch. So Daniel Dubois, and he's young. Daniel Dubois is 27 years old. He's got a long career. AJ Fury, these guys are coming towards the end. Daniel Dubois is certainly the future. Yeah. We're now starting to kind of look at the past of Fury and the Joshuas and you know what I mean? These guys have been around for a while. The Wilders, etc. Daniel Dubois has got nothing to lose. He's already beaten Anthony Joshua once. Even if he loses to Anthony Joshua in a rematch, mate, it doesn't matter because he was supposed to lose the first fight, right? Everyone said Dubois was going to lose the first fight. That's what all the experts said. That's what everybody said. That's what I said. So Daniel Dubois is the biggest winner in all these. Rematch or no, Daniel Dubois has already won. AJ will be the biggest loser if he's to lose the rematch. He's already a loser losing the first fight. People already looking down at him and calling him a glass jaw, he's chinny, punch resistance is gone, etc. Being criticized by Carl Froch. Carl Froch is having a big field there with Joshua right now. And Joshua can't come back from that. So Joshua has to be really careful because his legacy is on the line. And like I said to you in the beginning of this video, like, what are they really trying to achieve with this rematch? Like, what is there to gain for Joshua? He's got so much to lose right about now. Because Daniel Dubois, trust me, he's gonna be way more confident. And man, listen, I don't even want to keep this video too long. I don't really want to keep it too long because the rematch hasn't been confirmed, but it's sounding like there is gonna be a rematch early 2025. But yeah, you let me know, people at home. Let me know what you think. What you think is really gonna happen. Do you want to see that rematch? I know a lot of you don't want to see that rematch. I personally don't mind it. I don't want Joshua to take it, but I know, the economics of boxing, the powers above, Turkey Ally Sheikh, they're probably going to make it happen because they want the most attention on their brand. And Joshua brings that attention to them, massive millions. So why wouldn't they take that opportunity to generate more money, more attention towards Riyadh season, etc.? So it's looking more likely that rematch is going to happen. But let me know in the audience, guys and girls, who do you think wins the rematch? Do you think Joshua is taking a big, big risk by, trying to take that, going for the rematch against Daniel Dubois, Or do you think that Joshua should wait for the Fury fight. Have that final fight with Fury and move on, or taking a Wilder or whatever, and just move on. Leave Daniel Dubois alone. This guy's young. You know, he's a savage runner, Daniel Dubois. You know, and do you think Anthony Joshua can win the rematch? That's my other question. It's a tough one, man. I can't sit here confidently and say, yeah, Joshua wins the rematch. I can't, because I made that mistake in the first fight, saying that Joshua's gonna win the first fight against Dubois, and then look what happened, man. We all had to eat humble pie. Certainly, I did. I was that confident Joshua's gonna win, but hey, Daniel Dubois, salute to him. Hats off. He proved me wrong, but let me know, man. Let me know, man. Let me know in the comments what you think. I'll really appreciate that. Once again, guys and girls, thank you very much for watching EMGM Sports. It's me, your boy Enzo. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. I would really appreciate that. Until the next one, peace.